All right, well, welcome back to week 2 of the weekly vlog series. I got Dave back behind me here. We're doing some work today. He's over here at my house. As you can see, I basically live on a farm. It's a farmhouse that I rent. It's a sweet little house. There's the house back there. We got a whole squad of goats, babies in the barn, and the big ones back there behind Dave. Take a couple shots of them real quick, but just wanted to kind of give you guys an update. You guys obviously saw Rye's video 1. We appreciate you watching. I know Josh uploaded his video yesterday. Caleb did his today. And again, we do really appreciate you guys watching those. Today, just gonna go on, show you a quick little walkthrough of my house. It's a cool little setup I got. And then gonna run you through a little bit of the shooting preparation that I've done in the off season. You know, I've done Chasing November obviously all summer. And in the middle of doing that, wanted to stay on top of shooting. You guys saw how the story of the 6x5 went last year, and at the end of the day didn't make the greatest shot execution on the first time around, and basically just wanted to make sure that I'm in a much better position shooting wise this year. So been practicing a lot, been practicing every day just about with the RX8, feeling great with it, and wanted to talk about a little bit of some things that I've been doing, some things that I've noticed. And then on the second part of this video, going to walk through a little bit of the public land scouting that Dave and I did last week. We went back into those 2 main spots that I primarily have hunted in the past, the 6x5 public and another piece, set up some cameras. And I'm excited to say I've already got a nice buck that I have some history with, trail cam history with, showing back up on there. Lots of deer in the area. And so just, it's really exciting to start getting pictures of the deer out there. So I'm gonna take you through the house really quick. You guys will get to see a little bit of what our daily lives look like, and then we'll jump into those other segments. So appreciate you watching. All right, so here it is. It's the living room. See, I've got some pictures that my lovely girlfriend printed out for me. Just some pictures I've taken. Montana. Well, I guess the Badlands technically. Zach's farm, Arkansas. That's Mr. Kelsey right there. And then a deer I filmed with Rye back in our intern year. So some cool memories there on the wall. Got my first public land buck that I killed in Ohio in 2019. There he is. Turkey that I killed with Mike last year. We did a cool little mount with that. Some fresh Taka gear. Look at that. Backpedaling a little bit. Got my office. There's old Dave again. This is where the magic happens. I am going to be moving a lot of stuff over to the office. Primarily, Rye and I will be working there along with some of the interns. Zeb is with Caleb. Evan's going to be with Josh. Dave's going to be down here. And so we'll be all kind of working together, doing a lot more with each other out there out of the office. So excited for that. To keep going, this is the crown jewel of the house. This is a key lime green kitchen. It's a lovely color. Got some fresh sweet potatoes and a watermelon from my garden. I do a lot of gardening in the summer, and those sweet potatoes are actually thanks to Abby Ludwig. Big shout out to her. And then my bedroom. Got the hat wall. My girlfriend loves that. Got the 6x5 here. A lot of you guys have asked why I didn't have the 6x5 mounted, and he is going to get mounted. I essentially just had him done as a Euro mount for now, just so that I can show him off, take him to, you know, things like the Iowa Deer Classic that I took him to, and you know, it's just a little bit better than just having the skull cap. So it's a cool little way to have him around while the mount's getting worked on, and excited to see the final mount for sure. So it's a quick walk through the house. It's not a whole lot, but it's an awesome spot. Now we're gonna go ahead and jump out to outside, and I just have a few targets set up. I'm gonna do a little bit of shooting and kind of talk through some of the challenges really I've kind of identified and have been working through this off season on the shooting side of things. And really, I mean, I've been shooting better than I ever have before. I'm the type that definitely does a lot better when I've been shooting consistently. And so between doing that, identifying some problems with my shooting technique and things like that, it's been going really good. So we'll jump outside and get some arrows in. So long story short, like I mentioned last year, I had that mishap with the first time I shot the 6x5. It was October 14th. Setting up on the ground, shooting through some grass. You know, there were some variables there, but at the end of the day, through thinking about that some more, through shooting in the off season and kind of just being able to focus on my shot process, I've kind of determined I had a little bit of target panic going on. And I was tending more to not really settle in, give myself that chance to really let my conscious mind take over, and really just found myself in that moment of truth, letting my emotional mind kind of take over things a little bit. So what I've done is essentially a little bit of research online. There's obviously a million different YouTube videos out there, articles, things of that nature. One that really stuck out to me was a video done by Crispy. I can link it down below. If you're experiencing target panic, he kind of discusses the different variables, the different symptoms of it, for lack of a better term, and as well as a really good drill that I've been implementing that helps essentially curb some of those target panic tendencies. And really, if you do it the right way, and if you take it seriously, I really think that it can essentially cure you of your target panic. And I'll let him do the explaining if you want to check that out. But long story short, you start at 3 yards with a target that's very big, easy to aim at, and you want to just practice that form, practice, you know, settling, anchoring, following through, all these different aspects that go into shooting, and focusing on those. And if you mess up, if you punch the trigger, or if you're a guy that can't bring it up on the target enough, you get locked down in a certain position or locked up in a certain position, you know, if you catch yourself doing that, you got to essentially start this process all over. But the process is, for 3 days, you start at 3 yards, shooting 50 arrows a day. And if all of those are perfect, out of all 3 days, you move back to 5 yards. Do the same thing, move back to 7 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards. And once you get out to 20, you can essentially kind of go from there. But again, for me, that has helped immensely to kind of just honing in on my shot process, really focusing on that, executing all those little things, and just letting my conscious mind be the driver when I'm shooting, rather than that emotional side of your mind. And again, it's helped a ton. I've never shot better in my life. It's really exciting going into the season feeling that way. At the end of the day, like I mentioned, I'm the type of shooter that when I have more practice, when I've been shooting consistently for multiple months on end, which is where I'm at now, I can go in feeling just so much more confidence in how I'm going to perform when it comes down to that moment of truth. And on top of that, hopefully fixing some of these issues I was having without even really realizing it, hopefully be just that much better. So I'm going to shoot a little bit, going to jump up in the saddle. The Latitude saddles have been awesome for the few times I've been shooting out of them, and really just enjoy this night. It's a beautiful night. Get some shooting in. Playing a little game of darts here. Let's see what we can do. A little high. It's kind of hard aiming at 10 yards with a 20-yard, or, you know, a 20-yard pin. Not quite. We're getting there. So you can see I've chewed this up pretty good. I mean, there's obviously 6 different sides. It's a sweet target that can last you a long time. Here we go. Get the saddle on. Just gonna shoot at 20 yards here. You know, I'm not completely dialed. It's certainly different shooting out of the saddle versus just shooting standing up. But like I said, not perfect by any stretch. Going to definitely be continuing to practice out of this thing. Try to mimic that real hunting situation as much as possible. And you know, between all that, the practicing the different aiming drills that I was talking about, you know, I think it'll be an awesome season, and you know, just feeling really good with the bow. So we are going to jump over to our scouting mission now. found some new spots, found some old spots, and I'm excited to see what this season has in store. All right, September 6th, Mr. Dave and I are out on the public today, and we are just getting here to the spot. This is the piece where I killed the 6x5 last year, did all my hunting, and you know, there's lots of good bucks looking to get back this year. So got other public pieces that we're going to try to get to today as well, but this is the primary one I want to focus on. Again, just lots of targets that I'm looking for this year. Really, to bring you up to speed, we have not been out since mid-July. We came out here hoping to get some cameras out, and with all the rain we've been having, the waterways and stuff that are back in here were full of water, and so we really would have had a hard time crossing without some sort of waders or something like that. And so one thing that's been super helpful while I've been editing Chasing November, spending a lot of time in the office lately, is being able to keep tabs on that situation as far as using Onyx in their new feature called Recent Imagery. Basically, it takes a picture, I think, every 2 weeks, and essentially it allows you to toggle through different maps that go throughout the season. And so you can see, especially when it comes to the river, the little sandbars and stuff coming in and out of the water based on the water levels, things like that. So overall, that new feature with Onyx has been super helpful just to keep tabs on it while I'm not able to get out here necessarily. So, you know, we had a big 6x5 in here last year. There were 2 of them. This other one was, I mean, he's large, we'll just say that. Either way, though, I've got a few spots that I've already figured out I'm going to for sure put up cameras. I put cameras there in the past, so knock those out. Got a couple vines I brought from home. I'm just excited to get back out here. Corn's starting to turn, leaves are starting to turn a little bit, and it feels like fall. It's an awesome feeling. I love this place. Like, this was all underwater at one point, you could tell. This is a great spot. This is a spot we set up on the ground the first hunt of the year last year. Saw that really pretty 3-year-old that we encountered a couple times. We're essentially on the edge of this big bedding area, willows back behind me, and more open river bottom out in front. This little white oak tree here was a natural scrape before, and I hung a vine here. You can see it's the old one dangling. If I remember correctly, I think it was the big 6x5 that broke the vine off, oddly enough. Hung a camera on this little tree. It's perfect. It's up away from the scrape. They don't see it or anything. It's a great little setup. So this is going to be one we hang a vine on, and potentially, depending on the pictures, hunt this one for sure. See a couple. So one thing, this is this little patch of bur oaks that I was hunting early season last year in October. And part of the reason why I think it was so hot in here is because there was such a good acorn crop. That was a common theme last year. But, you know, I'm seeing a fair amount. Definitely not as many as last year. But they're great big acorns. I mean, I think they're a good draw. There's mostly bur oaks and some black oaks in here. But I definitely think it might be one of those factors this year. Man, it just feels so good to be back out here. I mean, it's a beautiful day, 72 degrees I think is the high today. It's September 6th. I mean, you just couldn't ask for a better day. Very, very grateful for the public lands that we have offered to us here in Iowa. Just loving it, you know. The old duck pond, man. inside of 30 yards. So we're further into this big bedding area. And again, this is a spot that I kind of walked through during shed season and found a ton of sign. We came across a big trail already. I know there's a big one going right through here in front of us. And the issue is though, is it's just kind of brushy stuff. There's immature maples and whatnot, but not really any good tree stand trees. We may walk around some more and find a decent one. But I mean, this could be an option right here. This is just a big brush pile. There's a big trail going this way, big trail going in front. We'd be like right in the middle of them. I mean, they'd be on top of us, but it could be one of those spots to catch a cruising buck. So, update. We do have this one cottonwood. I looked around for a while, couldn't find anything. It doesn't have any leaves on it, any branches. It's great, but it's a spot of all spot, I think, as far as just a great pinch point where a lot of deer are going to be cruising through. The big issue with this is access and wind direction. Like I mentioned, there's pretty much bedding all around us. I think we're essentially going to blow a south wind, just blowing back the way we come. The access is going to be from that way. We're going to go hang a camera on a scrape that I found up here. But either way, I think this will work out. It's a small window that we get through these trees, but especially with the leaves off and everything, I think it'll open up a little bit more. We'll be surprised when we get up there, so I'm excited. I mean, this could be that spot where that 6x5, that big boy, he's living at a little bit more frequently at least, so only time will tell at this point. This is not too far from where that stand location was that I just talked about. And this is a scrape that I found during shed season. I think I actually took a clip of this on the GoPro. I mean, it's crazy. It's definitely one of those that's just a high traffic scrape. It's a high traffic area. Total guesswork, but this is where I think that 6x5, that big one, could be living at. Further into this stuff, I mean, this is just a huge thicket. I mean, just nasty willows, lots of different types of brushy areas, plenty of bedding habitat. And really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's guesswork as to where he could, be bedding, where he likes to hang out. But I think this could be one of those spots. I've never had a camera here, and so I think this could be one of those spots that just provides that new intel, maybe another piece of the puzzle on where he's at. One guy that I haven't talked about a lot either is the Bladed 8. He used this area a lot. I think he generally lives maybe out in the crop fields or something, and then kind of sucks into the river bottom. Mid-October is what he tends to do. This is that bedding area where he pushed that doe into that when we encountered him. And so this could be a spot where we get him as well. Really don't have to do a whole lot to this spot. And again, it's just dug out. It's a well-used scrape. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to hanging a camera on this one. And we only have one more after this, so we'll get this hung up and keep on trucking. All right, well, we are at the crossing spot. This is our last spot of the day. I did hang it a little bit low, and reason being it's on this hedge tree and there's a lot of leaves on it. You can tell the leaves are kind of weighing the branch down. And so whenever those leaves fall off, it's gonna raise the branch up, raise the vine up. So you still want it to be at a good height when that does happen. And so I do have it a little bit on the low side, but they'll still hit it for sure. Just a big trail right here, big bedding, and a good crossing, a creek crossing right here off to my left. Stand, like I said, is off to my left as well. We also will hunt this on a south wind. That's when Ethan and I encountered that big deer who was standing somewhere right about here back in my intern year. We were hunting out of a south wind stand, which is just on the other side of the main trail. So it's sweet from this perspective of, being able to hunt it on multiple winds. What we did last year that worked out is walked along the edge of the water up there. We didn't really run into spooking nearly as many deer as I have in the past, and just little adjustments like that are what I love about hunting a property over and over again year after year. Last camera of the day, that's camera 6 that we've hung today. We're gonna jump over to another piece of public, and a couple more over there as well. So awesome day. It feels great. The wind's picking up, but it's right around the corner. I mean, it is almost here, and it sure feels like it today. This is that piece of public where I was hunting that big deer 2 years ago. It's a really nice piece, river bottom piece as well. You know, I didn't hunt it at all last year, but it had a lot of good deer, and you know, at the end of the day, we were just chasing other deer out on the 6x5 public. So looking for a couple deer this year. There were a couple good ones last year, but one in particular that's essentially a mini-me version of the big one. This is a spot. Actually, I got a sweet series of pictures of him late November, I think it was, maybe right around that time. Actually, I think I killed the 6x5 when we had that snow on the ground, and he was in here sparring with another deer, younger buck, and it was a cool series of pictures. But lots of other good bucks, a big framey deer last year we had in here, and a couple other ones. There's another mature short tine, 8 or 9 or something like that. So awesome spot, and we've got 2 more cameras to hang up. Definitely not quite as many as the other piece, but yeah, weather's still beautiful. Dave's feeling good. I'm feeling a little dehydrated, but that's okay. We're moving. So a couple more cameras and we'll get out of here. All right, well, this is the spot of all spots. This is where we had that encounter with the big one. It's a great spot for deer activity. A lot of deer moving through here, tons of rubs, and you can just tell a lot of deer activity in this general area. It's a good little go-between, just a great spot overall. But you know, this is one of those spots where that look-alike buck, whatever you want to call him, he was fairly frequent on other mature bucks in here as well. So it's always been, since I set that camera up here that first year and got the big deer, I mean, it's always been a productive location. So it's been a great day. A little more walking and then we're done. What do you think, Dave?
It's been a good day. Been productive.
Been a good day, and it's been productive, he says. One more spot. It's a really cool little spot. Big trail right there. Huge trail. Big rub. Got this huge fence crossing right here. I mean, it's a sweet spot. And I really had a lot of daylight activity here last year. Let's see what this does. Well, that's a wrap for the public land scouting mission of 2024. It's been an awesome day. It's good to get out this time of year when it feels this nice out, and we put on quite a few miles. I'll have to check and see what we ended up doing, but we still got some time for things to kind of settle down and soak and whatnot. The only other thing we're gonna have going on is setting stands once we get closer to October. So that's really all we got, and thanks for joining us today.